was once a Roman legion that disappeared without a trace. The year was 79 AD, and it was around 5,000 elite soldiers. This made it even more surprising when Legio III Gallica went missing. They were the best of Rome's armies, but when they left their base in the Syrian desert, they were never seen again. Even worse, there are almost no records of them at all. No written accounts from the time tell their story. The only evidence for their existence comes from modern excavations. The climate was warm and pleasant. There was plenty of food and wine. And the local people were very welcoming. Many of the soldiers actually liked living in Syria, yet despite this, we know some shocking details about their final days thanks to one lucky discovery. So what really happened to this lost legion? They found things like coins, belt buckles, and pieces of pottery that helped them date the camp to the year 79 AD using ground-penetrating radar. They were able to identify a trench system, the remains of buildings, and other structures that helped them reconstruct how the camp looked and operated. The warriors were buried together in a group, implying that they died as comrades. But the longer the legion stayed in the area, the more they realized that they were in over their head. At this point, the Emperor Titus decided to send reinforcements. He wrote that commanders stationed along the frontier knew that the isolated garrisons were extremely vulnerable, especially when they needed to forage outside the defenses. A surprise attack could be devastating. And it seems Legio III Gallica fell victim to one such ambush. By the year 103 AD, the entire city was destroyed and its citizens were either enslaved or dead. So who was responsible? It's possible that a tribe from beyond the Roman border was responsible for the massacre. Groups like the Bedouin tribesmen were known to raid into Roman territory, stealing goods and livestock. But there is another theory that's even more intriguing. It's possible that the perpetrators were never caught because they fled before the Romans could retaliate. Could this lost legion have become one of history's first lost colonies? The weapons and armor left behind suggest that the attackers were either extremely wealthy or willing to steal from the dead. Do you think they were betrayed or just unlucky enough to walk into an ambush? Let us know in the comments below. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and stay tuned for more content. It's possible that the Legion was attacked by a large tribe of desert nomads. These groups were known to raid Roman territory, stealing whatever they could before disappearing back into the wasteland. Another possibility is that the Legion was betrayed by one of their allies. The kingdom of Osrhoene, which bordered the Roman province of Syria, had been a thorn in the side of the empire for decades. While they never posed a serious threat, they were always ready to ally themselves with Rome's enemies. It is possible that a member of Osrhoene's royal family convinced the Legion to leave the safety of the camp and then ambush them. When they arrived at the camp, they found no sign of their comrades. The sheer size of the mass grave suggests that the attack was quick and brutal. The discovery of the mass grave helps us answer one of the biggest questions about the Legion. But it raises another. Who did this to them? We may never know the answer for sure. But we do know that it wasn't the people of Palmyra. Many people assumed that because the camp was found near Palmyra, the people of the city were responsible for the massacre. But there is no evidence to support this theory. According to archaeologist Philip CHTP://J. Smith, the destruction of Legio III Gallica occurred several decades before the excavation of the camp. He wrote that the massacre could not have been perpetuated by the inhabitants of Palmyra, since they had ceased to exist as an independent kingdom by the end of the 1st century AD. The only evidence that anything had ever been there was a collection of abandoned military equipment. It was as if the entire legion had vanished into thin air. But most of the soldiers were still wearing their armor, suggesting that they fought to the death. Finally, none of the bodies showed any signs of torture or mistreatment, making it unlikely that this was a mutiny. But still there was no sign of bodies. To find out what happened here, we need to travel 1,700 miles away. We know the soldiers were stationed in Syria, but we're not sure why they were in the Syrian desert. Most likely they were sent there to put down a rebellion. In 74 AD, the people of Palmyra rose up against Roman rule and slaughtered the Roman garrison in the city. Some sources claim that the entire population of Palmyra participated in the attack, but that's likely an exaggeration. Either way, the Romans were wiped out, and the people of Palmyra seemed eager to fight. But the discovery that really caught their attention was a collection of 800 arrowheads. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. The exact date isn't known, but sometime during the reign of the Emperor Titus, a Roman legion disappeared in the Syrian desert. Most of the fighting in Syria was being done by a single legion, the Legio III. It wasn't until 3 years later that another team of archaeologists returned to the site. This could have been a battlefield where the Romans were defeated and killed. But the condition of the bodies suggested something different. In reality, the people of Palmyra may have suffered the same fate as Legio III. Gallica. Even though they were a long way from home, life for the soldiers stationed in Syria was relatively easy compared to those in other parts of the empire. In 2014, archaeologists in Syria discovered the remains of a Roman camp near the city of Palmyra. That might sound crazy, but it's actually not that far, considering the fact that Legio III Gallica were stationed in Syria. Legio III Gallica was tasked with putting down the rebellion. But in 2019, they came back with new equipment. Some historians believe that the soldiers may have been captured and sold into slavery. According to historian David Jacobson, this was a well-known problem at the time. When the relief column arrived, they found signs that the legion had been wiped out by an enemy force. Whatever happened, it's clear that every soldier was killed. Thanks for watching. What do you think happened to the Lost Legion?